Welcome to SVG-TV's news for Wednesday, March 16, 2016. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. The National Workers Movement, NWM, is claiming that workers at the St. Vincent Shipyard Limited at Ottery Hall are being treated unfairly, and some 23 of them could be terminated at any time. In a telephone interview earlier today with SVG-TV News, General Secretary of the NWM, Noel Jackson, highlighted concerns that the terms of a collective agreement is not being upheld, and attempts to have it renewed with new proposals is being slighted or ignored. Jackson is of the view that under the new leadership, the former Ottery Hall Marina, now the St. Vincent Shipyard Limited, which is operated by Venezuelans, the company is seeking to terminate the services of local workers. The union leader expressed concern that the management is being vindictive by depriving the workers of basic amenities and unfair warning letters, among other things.
Mr. Vittori started to terminate the services of our members, giving them warning letters without justification, and depriving them of basic amenities, toilet paper, safety gears, safety materials, and continued in an attitude where he do not want to talk to the union. Of course, we lodged our complaints. Nothing happened. We had meetings with the workers. The workers asked me to give them a deadline. We met. We promised to send us company proposal. My understanding, he met with the board, and he did not even mention to the board that he had a meeting with the union.
According to Jackson, they have already spoken with the Minister of Labour on the matter, but they have come to the conclusion that they will be dealing with the company firmly and there will be no more idle talks.
We have started the process, and we are going to go forward with dealing with St. Vincent Shipyard Limited. We would have called and spoken to the Minister of Labour on the issue, and he said he would deal with it. Well, we are hoping that he will deal with it. But in the meantime, we cannot roll over and play dead, because the interests of our members at stake and the pride and dignity of Vincentian workers are also at stake. But we intend to deal with this matter extremely firmly. The time for talking gone, and that is to say, we will talk, but the talk that we will be engaging in must bear tangible fruits. We ain't talking and walking and we would have promised that this will be done. No. Anyhow we sit to talk this time, coming out of that meeting have to be a concrete settlement of this issue and the respect for Vincentian workers.
Jackson further stated that he is extremely concerned that workers from Venezuela are being brought in to replace locals without, according to him, having the proper work permits and health checks, since the threat of the mosquito-borne Zika virus is a threat to South American countries.
The union got reports that he was requesting permission to lay off 23 workers, Vincentian workers at the shipyard. And while that was happening, there was an influx of Venezuelan workers. Of course, we then had to take a firm stand on the issue. And we understand also that there are workers down there, Venezuelan workers down there without work permit. We want that matter settled. We also learned that some of those workers were not properly processed because they came to Union Island. That also must be dealt with, because in South America, Venezuela border with Brazil, and there's a serious Zika virus problem in Brazil, and it brings exposure to the people in the country.
SVG-TV News made several attempts via the telephone to get a comment from the management of the St. Vincent Shipyard Limited on the matter, but was unsuccessful. In other news, representatives of several CARICOM member states gathered here earlier today for a workshop on the 4th CARICOM Reciprocal Agreement on Social Security, aimed at providing members with the technical capacity to effectively meet the terms of the said agreement. Noting that he is pleased at the turnout of representatives from the member states, Executive Director of the National Insurance Services, Reginald Thomas, says this signifies the importance of the issue at hand and their willingness to come on board. Thomas says the work to be done in the administering of the Social Security Agreement must be given high priority with full cooperation from all member states.
So our meeting today to review the critical and important tenets of the CARICOM Social Security Reciprocal Agreement could not have been at a better time, since we are seeking to go right back to the fundamentals as were outlined by the by the ILO in its call for the new consensus on Social Security. There are still too many challenges. There are still too many late delivery of benefits. There are still hurdles placed within the system which impacts the theme of this workshop: move and don't lose. We are to get it right. Then being here is essential. And not only being here, but understanding that the spirit of the legislation underpins the fundamental qualities of the social protection framework, that of equity, universality, and social inclusion.
Deputy Program Manager of the Free Movement of Labor of the CSME unit, Dr. Olivia Smith, noted that while there has been a focus on economic measures as it relates to the free movement of persons within the CARICOM region, there must be the realization that a society cannot grow in today's global environment without having a safeguard for its people.
I want to take a different look and contextualize what we are doing today within the global environment. Things are changing. Trade liberalization, globalization, and coming deepen or protracted recession based on what's happening in China means for us that there is need for us to look at home, to build at home, and to sustain at home, and that includes our social security measures. While much work has been done at the CARICOM level with respect to Social Security, the labor market information system, and looking at the development of a communications platforms of Social Security, at the end of the day, it is only you at the member state level who can make this a reality. And I've heard a previous speaker spoke to the will to do. We all have to be engaged in the process if we're going to make it happen. It will not happen by us talking about it. We must put our hands to the plow.
Smith further adds that for there to be a more effective social security agreement, there is a need for good governance, adequate resources, and the willingness to work.
We want to see more of the member states stepping up to help each other, because at the CARICOM level, member states need to engage each other, because people move between states. They don't move to the CARICOM Secretariat. And so member states need to engage in the social dialogue and that social capacity building wherever necessary. I also want to further thank St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because many of you might not be aware that they have been working hand in hand with us to ensure that we bring Suriname and Haiti, the two member states who are not with us in the CASAs yet, to bring them on board. And every time we've called on St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they have risen to the occasion, and that has recent times brought fruition. Suriname is now in possession of its legal instruments to accede to the agreement, and we successfully, led by Mr. Thomas, undertook training on the CAS in Suriname. We worked last year with Haiti, and Haiti has again reached out and signaled that they're ready to move forward as soon as elections have settled down.
Highlighting social security is one of the most important ways in which modern nations protect the welfare of their citizens. Minister of National Mobilization Frederick Stevenson noted that the assessment and implementation of the CARICOM Social Security Agreement is indeed a significant move. He added that while the agreement will allow for pension portability, there is a need for member states to foster legislation harmonization across all social security systems within CARICOM.
Despite these challenges, my brothers and sisters, we must determine to make the agreement work. There is no giant that we cannot conquer if we effectively leverage our capabilities as a region. It should not be difficult for us to achieve maximum cooperation in administering the reciprocal agreement. We have to get this one right. And Dr. Smith, you are here, and you have to ensure that the next 2 days and the outcomes of these meetings are forward to the heads so that the necessary legislations can be put in place so that we can all stand or sit on the same footing.
Chairman of the National Insurance Board of Directors, Lennox Bowman, stated that in order to achieve the working of a social security framework, the key fundamentals must be addressed. He also made a call for all CARICOM member states to work together to ensure that they do achieve a fully functional social security agreement.
The issues of labor force practices relating to the disclosure and certification, skill set, wage levels, gender participation, and health-related issues specifically related to matters of occupational safety and health must all be fully assessed as key components of the coverage dynamics, which must be emphasized if participation is to be enhanced and safeguarded. All our efforts must therefore seek to ensure that we give life to the administration of the free movement regime by administering the reciprocal agreement so that the guiding principles of equity, universality, and inclusion become the hallmark of labor force practices within the Caribbean.
Minister of Tourism and Culture Cecil Mackey is calling on citizens to be proud ambassadors of the country by sharing with others the uniqueness of SVG's cultural heritage. Mackey was at the time addressing the annual wreath-laying ceremony at the obelisk here at Dorsetshire Hill on Monday, March 14, 2016, National Heroes Day.
As we go forward as a developing nation, I want to urge every Vincentian to see yourselves as given that responsibility as well. Not only the ministry, not only the government and the various organizations mentioned. Each one of you must become cultural ambassadors for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Each one of you must see yourselves with the responsibility for promoting all that is good in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And once we get you on board with this process, St. Vincent and the Grenadines will be the better for it. In the words of the man age, we have a country to build.
Minister Mackey explained that culture will continue to be a priority area of development and call on Vincentians to be part of the events being held to commemorate Heritage Month.
For the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we have placed very high value on culture here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And it is for this reason why the ministry has worked hard and can now reflect for the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines a full calendar of events, cultural events that we can share with the region and share with the world. This is very important because we all know that culture is a very important tool that can be used for the development of any nation. And St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we will not be left behind. And we intend to go forward with our own development as a nation and as a people using culture.
The National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, will join the rest of the region tomorrow in participating in the Caribbean Tsunami Warning Exercise Cairo Wave, which is being conducted to assist tsunami preparedness efforts throughout the Caribbean. The exercise will provide the opportunity for all first responder organizations to drill and practice their standard operating procedures for a tsunami. It will also provide the opportunity for the key stakeholders within the Ministry of Tourism to practice their standard operating procedures for tsunami response. The radio data system will also be tested during the exercise as part of SVG's emergency warning system. Tomorrow's activity will commence at NEMO's conference room at 8:30. ICT has no doubt taken a foothold in SVG, especially in the last decade. That's the view of Principal of the St. Martin's Secondary School, Wendell Edwards, in his remarks at the school's 2016 Information Technology Symposium held earlier today under the theme Innovating Young Entrepreneurs. Edwards outlined the role of ICT in the educational process, says that the use of ICT in schools, if managed properly, increases the performance of students.
We are also aware that students are really motivated to learn when there are laptops and the internet available in the classroom. We just have to monitor the deviant child here and there who might wish to explore some other areas that have nothing to do with the lesson. ICT can also provide a framework for enabling students to become independent learners. Nowadays, there are so many computer programs that cater for the specific level, so that when level is mastered, they can move on to another level. Think also about the amount of time it saves when you push a button or two.
Edwards further notes that in a small island state such as St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Vincentians are still timid in launching out with respect to entrepreneurship. With the majority of students leaving school seeking employment in the public or private sectors, Edwards offered advice to the youths present that one cannot be too young to start a business.
A few words especially for the youth among us today. You need to embrace every opportunity to gain knowledge and develop the skills in information and communication technology. You need then to apply the knowledge and skills positively to your schoolwork and daily lives. Think also about developing a business idea, maybe with your teacher, your friends, your family. Nothing should be used as an excuse for not pursuing your dreams if you wish to be an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter how young you are or how big or small your idea is. Give it your best effort.
IT teacher at the St. Martin's Secondary School, Petrus Gums, says they don't just believe in teaching students to pass an exam, but to go the extra mile to ensure that they think outside the box with bright ideas and initiatives.
When they do decide to bring their ideas to the forefront or their initiative in the forefront, is there any supportive structure to help these kids move forward? And I can tell you comfortably, there is not much. Let's bear in mind that these few who decide to step out of the normal way of learning are the same few who has changed the way that we have communicate, the way we socialize drastically in the past few years. And these persons who have changed our lifestyles so much over the past few years were actually persons with vision who decide to do something different, but sad to say, they are school dropouts with a network of supportive friends. if we want to understand who these persons are, some well-known ones are Steve Jobs, Bill Gates.
Gum says that students have the capacity to excel and grow in leaps and bounds if they see the application of their knowledge that they have worked over 5 years or more acquiring something practical and relevant. He adds that the symposium allows the young entrepreneurs to receive the support and mentorship that they deserve.
You are invited here today to be that supportive friend, to be that mentor, advisor, or after the end of the ceremony, to just say, good job. This event is not a competition. It's an environment created where a few of our youths, just a few, can present their work that they are so proud of to you as professionals, business persons, and most importantly, their peers. We hope that at the end of the event, not only would you walk away with a little refreshment, but also refresh in the thought, such as, yes, we have kids, we have children who think big.
At the symposium, Joshua Prescott and Jeremy King, creators of the Urame application, were among the young entrepreneurs who made presentation of products they created utilizing ICT. Commenting on the Urame app, Cultural Officer Anthony Tibbles noted that ICT, when used properly, can have a significant impact on the world. Tibbles says the Urame app gives both the general public and history students an innovative and exciting way to learn about their local Vincentian history, and further express his pride in the young creators for creating the app.
Persons who are non-Vincentian would also enjoy the game. For many years, I have traveled St. Vincent and the Grenadines doing edutainment. This is during my time as a member of Naked Roots drumming group. And so at a personal level, I appreciate and I easily see the potential that the app has for this generation, which tends to engage the world by social medias and by virtual experiences. A lot of persons understand farming and production and economy from playing with Farmville. It's a game, right? But by the time you finish the game, you understand that you have to grow something, sell it, and that gives you money. But it has real meaning, all from playing a game. And the same thing happens with the Urame app.
Tibble says currently plans are being made to further develop the app with a return to the young creators.
Caribbean Heritage Connection. That project was so thrilled that in October last year, when they couldn't hold their general regional meeting here in St. Vincent, the project members still came to St. Vincent and went through a series of meetings, including a session with history teachers, and had the presence of Mr. Gums to present the app to them. Continuing out of that process, there is interest at 2 universities, one in Columbia and one in Guadeloupe, and the hope is that we can work out a very specific arrangement between the initial students and the further developers so that there is some kind of return to you youngsters. That is the present thinking.
Currently, the app is geared towards children between the age group 8 to 12. Here's a look at the presentation of the application made at a symposium earlier today.
Now, what you just heard was our animated island scholar. We use this image of a snake because it appeals to children, and we also found out from Mrs. Gums' dial that it is the indigenous animal of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Next.
The idea of this application came about after my colleague and I came to the realization that there was not much being done to preserve, teach, or expose our local history in an interactive and interesting manner. Currently, There is no tool being used to effectively grasp students' interest in the learning of local history except for textbooks. This application is aimed to change that by changing the way in which the content is delivered. Viable features include an audio voiceover. There will be an animated character actually interacting with students throughout the application. So this app is geared not only towards visual learning but also auditory learning. There will be quiz questions where students would be quizzed on what they have learned throughout the application to progress to the next stage. And there will be viewing of actual settlers of Uromi.
In an effort to show the appreciation and celebrate the lives and contribution of persons within the South Leeward area, the management and staff of the Tunnel Restaurant and Bar in Camden Park hosted their annual Heroes Day luncheon and fun day, paying tribute to the elders of that community. Deeming the day as a success, manager of the Tunnel Restaurant and Bar, Vern Gould, expressed his satisfaction in being able to give back to his community, especially to those who would have contributed to the development of the area over the years.
Well, this idea was conceptualized by Randy Doppel, and he has been doing it over the years, trying to help out the less fortunate within the country, and I came on board with him. This year, after my return from Canada, I decided to join with him and assist him in such area of helping the less fortunate and the elderly, to let them know that they are not forgotten and that they are still part of the community, and that they can feel, good, that, they can have a meal to enjoy for this day, Heroes Day. It was pretty well. We had over 85 persons came out. We have people from the age home in Hukument, right back to Lowman's, Captain Park, Bottom Critters, Cleverly. It was like a fun day. They have like karaoke and entertainment by other persons within the community, and they themselves participated within the activities.
Gould says he intends to continue this venture and perhaps even extend recognition to present community builders, as no work should go unnoticed.
This is just a way of giving back to the community over the years and so forth, for people who have made their contribution in one way or the other. Definitely it will be an annual event. Hopefully I plan to do this. It might not be for the elderly or homeless only, but as people who have made a contribution, every Heroes Day we will be recognizing them as part of our venture.